Well, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another Travel Mold broadcast. And I'm delighted to say today that I've got Andy and Bromley from the Mitre Group, who are very interesting setup, something that's very, very relevant to the travel industry and indeed to the hospitality industry as a whole at the moment. Welcome, Andy. Welcome, Bromley.
Thank you very much.
Bromley, you're the top man. You're the MD. Tell me a bit about the Mitre Group. You know, how long you've been going? What do you do, basically?
Yeah, so Mitre Group formed back in 1992, which doesn't sound like that long ago, but considering we're nearly at 2022, it feels like a long time. So our founder, Trevor Bomer, sadly lost him last year, but Trevor was a fantastic man, ex-Navy, and set up Mitre Group as a training company in Derbyshire in the Peak District, really for leadership and management training. That was his background in the Navy, and came out and set us up with that really exciting model that was popular back in the 90s of using the outdoors and using experiences in nature orienteering to help people learn. But we've come a long way since then, and through the years we've gone from commercial training to a more funded model. In the last 12 years we've really become experts in helping different organisations in different sectors to benefit from the government's apprenticeship levy and the funding that's been available through that. So in the most recent years, worked prominently across sports backgrounds with leadership and management, marketing, coaching, especially within the communities. We have a real passion for helping organisations connect and improve that social mobility that perhaps has become a bit more of a common term, maybe of late. But for those that are unfamiliar, it's really helping people to get into work, but also then upskill and progress their careers from entry level through to management and top levels, all the way up to level 7, which is an incredible offer that apprenticeships can give now.
Have you found in the well, I'm assuming now there's no more thrashing of each other with branches from birch trees? Then that's all gone. You know that I'll have to get rid of that from my regime. Is it a case of people that want to reskill in a different industry because their traditional job, something they've been doing, has changed dramatically, or perhaps is not in demand and they can see an opening elsewhere? Or is it just basically people that are unemployed or coming out of school and want to get more qualifications?
Yeah, it is both of those. So for those that aren't familiar with the apprenticeship system as it is now, there's opportunities from a level 2 qualification, which is the same as a GCSE, all the way through to a level 7, which is the same as doing a master's degree. So there really is opportunities for employers to use the funding for existing staff that want to develop either new skills such as leadership and management. You might be a fantastic travel consultant, or but can you lead a team to do the same thing? Or it could be that you are looking for that new energy to bring into your business, and that can be somebody of any age, no matter what their previous qualifications, can retrain with new knowledge and skills on a new pathway using the apprenticeship programs.
Excellent. Andy, you're the man with the knowledge of the travel industry. Yeah. At the moment, the travel industry is, there's all this pent-up demand, and everybody's saying, I was speaking to people this morning, their hotels are at 80% occupancy, the airlines are full, prices are quite high. So, the immediate future looks good. But one of the things that's restricting expansion will be the fact that the industry has lost so many talented people and experienced people from it. And also they don't seem to be being replaced by an adequate supply, if you like, from the production line of training colleges. What are the opportunities for travel with the Mitre Group and this apprenticeship scheme and all the other grants that you can get from government?
Yeah, so it's funny you talk about those positions. My wife and I were both in travel the last 8 years. She still is in travel and is still loving it. But I'm one of those people that was in travel and now isn't. I've moved into the education sector, and I'm really enjoying it. And I still have a passion for travel, want to give back to it. So it's been interesting this past 12 months for us, thinking about how we could help when this inevitable spike did come back. We all hoped that travel would come back quicker than it has, but obviously restrictions easing is going to help that. One of the ways that we know we can help at the moment is that there's a government incentive around apprenticeships. It's been around for a little while. back in October, they extended it for another 3 months. And it's really primed us as a training provider to go, do you know what, we want to help businesses to access this funding while it still exists. You know that the government have made several decisions quite quickly around funding for apprenticeships, so we know it might not be around forever. Reason trying to reach out to yourself was really to try and get this message out to businesses to say, do you know what, there are apprenticeships that are absolutely applicable to travel organisations at the moment as they look to rebuild, as they look to try and bring new talented individuals either back into the sector, or new individuals that might not have been in the sector previous but are thinking, do you know what, I want a change of scene, or actually travel to where I really want to be. One of those apprenticeships that we run at Mitre is the level 3 travel consultant, which is probably the most applicable in terms of the roles being seen right now. So it's a role that loosely relates to the sales of travel, but it covers a huge amount of breadth. It's been created by ABTA in 2019, as well as TUI and Co-op Travel, amongst others. Really, it's a great qualification that will allow anybody coming into the industry to get a real grounding in what travel consultancy is, being able to talk to customers about global issues, geography, different travel industry areas, travel methods, etc., things like that. We believe that for those that are looking to reintroduce skills back into the sector, it's a great way of not necessarily needing to look for staff that have got 3-4 years of travel industry experience and experience of GDS and all the others. It's being able to offer people an opportunity to say, come and join us. You're obviously talented in sales and communication and teamwork. What this qualification can do in the background is allow people like Mitre to step in and reintroduce that knowledge back into the sector, so that companies that don't necessarily still have as much of that talent still in the business, we can help them to do that and bring it back.
What stops people doing it? I mean, it sounds, it almost sounds like too good to be true, and why wouldn't you do it? Is it because it requires management time? It requires a certain level of, if I'm a 2-man band, then to take on a third person and under an apprenticeship, that's quite a big undertaking. Is there a sort of a prime sort of size of company, or is it, I mean, I know it'll be open to anybody, but, what are the reasons why people wouldn't do it?
Yeah, it's a good question. It's difficult from our perspective. It's quite difficult to talk about because there are so many positives to it. I guess one of those is what you've identified, is that there is a commitment between not just us and the learner, but there's a commitment 3 ways, and that will involve the employer. They will have a commitment to ensuring that that candidate is supported through the training program. It's not a case of accept the government grant, get them onto the scheme, and then away we go. The employer will have a role in making sure that that learner is supported, not just in their job, but also to complete the off-the-job training. There's 20% that goes alongside apprenticeship. So whilst they'll be employed to do a full-time role with the organisation on a normal contract with an employer, there is a requirement that they will need 20% off the job time to complete the educational learning that goes alongside that, so that they can, at the end of the programme, showcase, yes, I've met all of the points that make me a travel consultant, and I will pass my apprenticeship. So I suppose traditionally, I think apprenticeships not necessarily been displayed as such, in that they are pretty much the most cost-effective way of training your staff and bringing in new staff into your business. I think perhaps previously they might well have been thought of, well, I'll bring in somebody as an apprentice, which is probably the way of wording it, as an apprentice, and they will complete jobs for me, and once a month they might get a visit from a tutor that will come and check in on how they're doing. For us, that really isn't the case. I think we're not alone in this independent travel world in terms of wanting to pursue educational excellence. I suppose is the buzzword that we will try to use. I think everybody that works at Mitre has got a huge passion for making education interesting and making it really worthwhile, whilst combining it with full-time employment. So when I'm asked the question, what are the drawbacks? Yes, there is an employer commitment that they need to make, and there will be there will be some investment, not just from time, but also working with that person to get through the course. But the benefits for me and for we employ our own apprentices at Mitre, the benefits you see from being able to take that person out to do their off-the-job learning, when they come back with that new experience of going, do you know what, I just did a 3-hour webinar with Mitre, or I've been to an event or a networking event or a guest speaker event, and this is what I learned. Now I'm going to apply it into the industry. Sometimes our apprentice teaches me things that I didn't know about marketing or whatever she's been learning that month. So yeah, a difficult question. I don't know if you've got any more.
Well, probably. I mean, it must be true of all industries, and I know that you won't just deal with the travel industry, but you hear it every day on the news. The reason I can't get my favourite brand of toothpaste is because there's an HPV shortage, or I can't. I have to wait an extra 5 minutes to get a pint of beer because there's no staff in pubs, or the restaurants are opening much more restricted hours because of a lack of people in that industry. I'm assuming that's the problems that we're facing in the travel industry are endemic almost throughout the economy.
Yeah, and you're completely right. I think the government have posted statistics around most people on payroll for however many years, but actually getting people to apply for the jobs or getting people to feel as though they want to apply seems to be the challenge. I think the real key is remembering that every generation has their own approach to employment and how they see or feel. And actually, the opportunity for travel is fantastic. It is an appealing industry when it comes back to its full capacity. But
well, there's no doubt if it was down to me, I'd be getting the Birch branches back.
and even better than that, though, think about all the additional things staff members may look for now when they apply for jobs, whether it's opportunities to attend events, opportunities for learning in their work hours. Well, actually, an apprenticeship isn't that 16 to 18-year-old anymore. It could be, as you mentioned, somebody who's changing sectors, or somebody who just wants to retrain. So the opportunity to offer them a job that comes with the benefit of a study program, with opportunities to network, and along with all those other benefits that come with work in the travel sector, I really see it as a problem that could well overtake us all if we're not careful. But actually, if employees are smart about their approach and prepared to look at something new and different, there's a great opportunity to get around that issue.
I would say that actually, I'd like to say there's almost this difficulty of getting people into these roles, because there are, we're finding that you can put an apprenticeship or a job offer out there, and perhaps the applications aren't there. But for travel, there's a real opportunity to say, do you know what? We're just going to look for talented individuals that might not necessarily possess that travel experience or that 3 years desirable or essential experience of travel, because let's recruit talented people and put them through a training program that will within 12 months.
So you're actually looking for personality traits almost, rather than necessarily qualifications or skills.
Exactly.
So how do we? Say I want to take on an apprentice for Travel Mole, or I'm Obi-Wan Kenobi and I want to take on an apprentice. What's the best?
I wish you were.
Yeah. So do I. What's the best way for them to, obviously Mitre Group, go on the web, find your contact details, and then just get through and get the process going, yeah?
Yeah, so right now, what the way Mitre will work is we recruit in cohorts or in groups. So we believe the best way for people to learn is in groups. Obviously, there is an element of one-to-one coaching. So what we want to do is to help employers access these apprenticeships before the end of January. So should explain that before the end of January, for any employer that takes on an apprentice, there are caveats as to whether you're a levy payer or non-levy paying organisation, but any new apprentice that comes into an organisation, companies can claim up to £3,000 for recruiting an individual who goes on to do an apprenticeship programme. They'll get an additional £1,000 if that person is aged 16 to 18, so up to £4,000, and they can recruit up to 10 apprentices at any one time to gain this incentive. So, we put that figure out that you could claim up to £40,000. Obviously, that's based on those parameters, but it's true. You could claim up to £40,000 worth of incentive by the end of January for recruiting people onto an incentive. So
and
it's
you'll
worth
help
considering.
with that process, with the government process, would you? Yeah.
100%. So if somebody came to us now and said, I'm interested in recruiting, or I'm recruiting for a travel consultant, and I've heard about the apprenticeship program, we'll work with them to get their apprenticeship program, well, digital apprenticeship service set up online. We will then do the necessary in terms of government funding, the apprenticeship levy, and all that will be explained as to how the funding works and how that's drawn down. But essentially, that apprentice will join a group of other apprentices that will start their program in January next year, and they'll work through for the next 12 months, depending on which course they go on to. For the next 12 to 18 months, they'll learn alongside a group of other individuals, as well as having their own learning mentor that will take them through the course. But it's really straightforward. Bromley's our man when it comes to inducting people and taking people onto programs.
Well, it sounds as I said before, it sounds, like you can't look a gift horse in the mouth. I mean, it's a very, very good opportunity for a number of people. So I wish you both the very best of luck. We'll get this out and people as soon as we can, really, because I think, time is running out, a certain amount of urgency for it. I'm sure the government won't make another U-turn and extend it. But let's see. So, gents, thanks very much for your time and the very best of luck.
Thank you very much. It's great to chat to you.
Thanks very much.
Cheers.